Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Will Curran, and welcome back to another episode of Event Icons. Today, we are into episode 147, where we are giving our sneak peek into 2019. What that means is we're going to be talking all about the next year of episodes. What are we looking forward to as far as specific topics? This is where we're going to share the first time ever the next year's worth of topics and what we're going to be talking about, all the guests we have coming up, as well as some of our predictions, our excitement, things that we look forward to in the show. So if you have not tuned into the show before, this is the episode to watch so you can get the sneak peek on what's going on. If you're a longtime listener, this is your chance to get that sneak peek as well. And if you just occasionally tune in, well, we all know what that means. You need to listen a little bit more to some Event Icons. So why don't we get started and jump into this week's episode where we're looking at 2019 for Event Icons. Let's go.
It's Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, so you know what that means. It's time for another episode of #EventIcons.
Presented by Endless Events.
The show where you get to ask the icons of the events industry anything. Use the question panel on the webinar to submit your questions. Or you can hop on Twitter. Submit your questions with #EventIcons.
We'll be answering your questions live during the entire show.
Before we get started, the more people we have watching, the better conversation we can have. So please help share #EventIcons on Twitter and Facebook.
Just tell your friends to watch at www.event-icons.com.
Now, without any further delay, this is #EventIcons.
So Will has traveled, as he always does, and is somewhere
All right.
fabulous.
So, of course, my internet is having horrible connection right now.
Naturally.
So Will is in Lisbon right now.
Somewhere that I would like to go, and in fact, we'll probably go near the end of this year, I think, walking. So, but that is not the episode that we're here to talk about today.
That's not what we're here to talk about.
No, we're here to talk about some of the exciting things that are coming up. So, Alex, we know that Will was on episode number 1. What was your first episode?
So my first episode was episode 41, and we talked about social media strategies for events. That was my first official episode. My first episode I was actually on was the IMEX episode, though, but that doesn't really get into my backstory. I was on for maybe 10 minutes, so that does not count, apparently. But that was episode 33.
There you go.
What was your first episode?
Episode 28. I was right there at the very beginning talking about biz dev and events. That was so long ago. We were with Eric from LinkedIn and Claire, who's since moved on to Inspirato, and so exciting to just look at some of the things that have happened over the years and how the titles have actually become a little more complex over the years.
I think so. And what's nice is that these episodes you can go back and watch anytime. If you want to hear our backstories, get to know us a little bit better, you can go watch those episodes. Today, though, we're looking forward. And we're looking at 2019. I hope everybody had a happy new year. Lots of partying or staying home under the covers watching Netflix like me. And we've got some really exciting stuff going on this year. For those who don't know, we schedule out our episodes pretty far in advance. So we have 6 months scheduled right now. So we're going to talk. I know, it's crazy.
6 months.
It's hard to believe. But we're going to be talking about some of the things that we're looking forward to this year, what you can look forward to, so you can mark some of these things down in your calendars, make sure that you don't miss certain episodes. And then hopefully at the end, we'll talk about kind of some ideas we have in the works. And hopefully those of you who are watching live can tell us what you want to see in the second half of 2019 as we look forward to scheduling those episodes as well.
I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start with Will. Will, what is one of your unprepared?
Switches the tab to the 2019 schedule.
What is an episode that you are looking forward to in 2019?
All right, so I'm looking through the schedule right now. And what is one that I'm super excited for would be, I'm looking through, I'm really excited for episode 153 with Samantha Vogel and Judy Payne from GameStop. I was at a Connect event speaking with Brant, and we actually had Sam on a panel with us talking about how to utilize event technologies properly. And I thought it was, when I talked to her, she was so amazing and awesome, and realized that, for lack of a better term, she had her things together, or shit together, that I had to have her on the show, and she was truly an icon.
Another term, then he just throws the term in.
My bad. Parental advisory on this episode, apparently. But she really, she's really well organized. She has some amazing, great tips for planners. I knew we had to have her on the show, and her events are really incredible. So I'm really excited for that episode 153 with GameStop coming up this year. It's going to be really, really cool. And it's going to be, if you're doing an event with a lot of technology, or you're a technology company looking to show off technology and do it the right way, this is kind of one of those events where the stakes are so high with these gaming companies now, and that you really have to have your shit together, according to me, apparently. So yeah, definitely check out that episode. It's gonna be really cool. One of my favorite tips that I learned from her as a sneak peek is actually that this idea of hiring a network engineer for your event to help you make sure the Wi-Fi is working right, test speeds, understand the technological things when it comes to Wi-Fi, and do all the networking stuff so you don't have to, and you can hire someone on a
And he freezes up again.
I knew that was going to happen because he was frozen, but you could still hear him. I was like, I'm waiting for it. You know what, though? I'm also really excited for that episode as well. I think it's interesting when we have these planners come on. I think those are always some really good episodes where we hear tips and we kind of, get these ideas from planners who've been doing it for years really well. But yeah, that's also an episode that I am looking forward to. And I thought the e-gaming episode was really good this year, so I'm hoping that we get a chance to discuss a little bit about that in that episode as well.
I feel like e-gaming is still going to be hot, so they could probably come back sometime this year. So we have next week we're talking about human trafficking, which sounds like one of those dark subjects, but it's actually just a reality of what we're dealing with in the meeting and event and hotel industry. And so I think that I'm looking forward to having Michelle Gelbart with ECPAT and child prostitution and trafficking on the show, just to really get their perspective on, how far we've come and truly how supportive the event and tourism industry has been, which I think is going to be fun. Then we go, of course, right into, how to make our Wi-Fi not suck. So really we're hitting at the top of the year some of those big subjects that,
Wi-Fi.
Well, they just don't really sound that sexy until you actually start talking about them and digging into what we can do and how we can actually improve things. And I think
I've read a lot of articles coming from the events industry this past year on human trafficking. I think it is a focus of the industry this year, and how we can help with that. And I'm excited that this is a topic that we're going to tackle on our show. I think it is extremely important. And I don't think we should shy away from these topics that are sometimes seem dark and sad.
They're not dark and sad. They are a practical reality of living in our world, right? So we're actually next week already, we're going to be in Bangkok for the Site Global Conference. And we actually have a speaker coming from ECPAT's headquarters. It's in Bangkok. And so we have the head of ECPAT is going to be at the conference, which will also be quite great. So I think she'll actually be busy, or it's the middle of the night because of these crazy time zones that we live in. So it doesn't really work out so well to have her there, but it's a great perspective, and I'm super excited about that as well. So I think it's good. We also get to talk about sponsorships next year.
I love sponsorships. I'm not going to lie. I think it is such a fascinating topic that is constantly evolving if you're doing it right. With technology and data and everything, there's so many opportunities for new sponsorship. So I'm excited to hear about this topic.
Well, as you said, it just keeps evolving. And of course, the needs of our sponsors keep evolving. And I think it's important that we recognize that and really how to move forward. with them. So it's a good thing. So
And
now,
then
oh yeah.
on the 23rd, we are doing our first live episode of the year. We're not wasting any time here. We're going to be going live from Go West, which is, I believe, our first Canadian conference we'll be going live from.
Wow. And you
So
get to go to Edmonton, Alberta, which is a very exciting destination.
I
it's
have
the
never been.
festival capital. So, and it's about the same temperature as most of the northern U.S. So nobody will be too surprised to be there. And they did a great job with that event last year. So I'm excited to see how they've changed it up this year. Of course, you guys are all presenting at it. So you and Will and Brant are all presenting at Go West. A whole variety of topics, and that's going to be really and some workshops as well, which will be really good, and the AV Smackdown, so some really great topics for the planners up there. And then of course some of our other favorites from New York, Michael Sarabelli doing his hot list, and David Adler from BizBash, who's always a great speaker. So they've got some good stuff lined up, and you guys will have the opportunity to talk to some really interesting people. And of course Brent and Arlene from TimeWise, who really started it last year, along with their team, and have really made a nice little event for us Canadians, especially in the West. It's gonna be good. And then
I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be a blast. I'm hoping that they make the whole stage purple for you, but we'll see how it goes.
I mean,
No, I'm decked out in purple this week. Very much in purple.
You are purple.
it's going to be great.
By the way, this episode's going to be Will chiming in very briefly as he tries to figure out why his Wi-Fi is sucking. So I definitely I concur with everything you guys are talking about.
Just keep nodding, Will. It looks good.
We can hear you now.
It sounds fantastic. But give it 5 seconds and I will be frozen Elsa style.
But you keep freezing in these really, people who are watching it in video, you're like,
yeah.
And that's weird, so.
It's very dynamic. It's great.
Of course.
And there he is, look, freezing again, but with a smile on his face.
Moving on into February, I know it's amazing. We've talked about so many things and we're still talking about January, but in February, we're going to be talking with women in events. We're going to be talking with some leaders in the industry who are leading the way. And I believe they're representing the Association for Women in Events, correct?
Well, Kiki's with Women in Events, and Courtney, of course, has been working with that group as well, as has Rhonda. So they've all been working with that group. And then, of course, it's a pan-industry issue, but MPI has launched a special initiative this year, which Courtney is working on.
Courtney's on.
Yeah, and then Rhonda's been doing a lot of work with Sight and with Awe to really and what I also like about this particular group of women that we have on is that they're also cross-generational. So we're really looking at some of our newer voices from events, and then of course Rhonda, who has been really fighting this, fighting for the women in events for more than 20 years in our industry, and has continued to be a leader. So I think it's going to be great to have some different perspectives as we look through those different lenses of women in events.
And Courtney was on our Me Too #MeToo meetings too episode this past year, but I believe this is Kiki and Rhonda's first time on the show, so that'll be exciting for them. And also
at IMAX.
We saw her at IMAX. This is true. Yeah. But like Kiki, that doesn't count.
It's not the same.
Oh, way to bring it back.
Yeah, it counts. Yeah. But Mr. Oversensitive. One of my favorite subjects, as we know, this is something you guys know I really feel strongly about, is learning and performance design in events. And how we really need to be looking at the different ways that people learn, not even generationally, but culturally, and what we're learning about neuroscience and how that impacts how we're setting up and teaching people at our events, and really getting people to connect with each other as well as with the education. And so Avinash Chinandra, or Avo as I like to call him because it's easier, has been doing that with MCI for a long time now, and has been doing it. He is definitely a global mosaic as a human being. and has moved just recently from Belgium to Hong Kong. So really bringing some interesting perspectives to that topic. And I think, for me, if we have one sort of, let's call it hot new episode this year, I think that this is going to be a pretty hot new episode of really great takeaways for our listeners. So excited about that.
A can't miss episode.
Bam.
One we're talking about all year, referencing. Yep.
And then there's GameStop, which we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then something that Will and I both participated in this year was the Global Event Forum, which was an ILEA initiative that was really about bringing together some leaders from the special events industry to look at, how we define our value and how we, look at events becoming a commodity when they're really not. And experience as a commodity is a very tricky thing. But there were some really great discussions that happened over the few days that took place. Yeah, and so we're going to have some of the our leaders from that particular event and participants from that event on the show and really dive a little bit into what that looks like. And I see we also have some people coming from America and Europe for that show. I'm excited about that show. I always like to get different perspectives. Will is so trying to talk. Do you see him?
Yes. Yeah, I really want to participate so badly today.
So on February 27th, Will, just be somewhere that your Wi-Fi doesn't suck. So that you can participate.
I listed as the host of that one. I think that's the day I come back from being in Ireland for a couple weeks. So I will make sure that I'm in the home studio with the fast Wi-Fi.
Perfect.
So
and then
that's our February. And then March starts off with two ladies from MPI, Meeting Professionals International, Crystal Ships and Lori Pugh Markham, who are responsible for the World Education Congress, their big annual events, the content. And they're going to be talking about how this past year they kind of rehauled all their content, tried some new things. They're going to be talking about what worked, what didn't work. You'll get a sneak peek of some of the things that are going to be happening in Toronto in June at this year's WEC. So I think that's going to be an exciting episode as well.
I love it. And then, of course, again, the next couple of episodes, we're really looking at, what meetings mean as a business and what events mean as a business, and looking again, at a couple of different episodes with that. So Meetings Mean Business is an initiative that's been around for a couple of years now. And we're going to have both some Canadians and some Americans on that show, really looking at what they're doing to really deliver that message to our governments that, what we have is a multi-billion-dollar industry that can make a lot of positive impact in the world. And in fact, is the only way that we're going to make any changes by meeting. So that's going to be a great episode in the middle of March. And then
wait, I want to wait, sorry, go ahead.
No, go, Will.
I want to do the next one. Can I do the next one?
Hold on. I want to talk about this Meetings Mean Business one.
Yeah.
So our guests, I'll reveal one of them. We'll reveal more as we get closer to it. But one of them, if you've ever seen him speak, this should excite you. Mike Dominguez is going to be on the episode, and he is just a powerhouse when it comes to knowledge about the industry and lobbying for recognition, and he's just incredible. If you've ever heard him speak, if you haven't, this is an episode you should not miss. But he is so smart.
We do have one problem with having Mike on the show, though, which is that we do not yet have smell-o-vision, and there is nobody in this business who smells better than Mike Dominguez, and he will know exactly what I mean by that. So
I'm glad he doesn't smell bad, because I thought you were going to say, thank God we don't.
No, Mike is fabulous.
I'm going to go up to him and smell him.
Okay, well, you can talk about March 20th. What's happening on March 20th?
All right, yeah, episode 157 at this point. This is my Wi-Fi. I'm going to make this quick. We're doing, out of the conversation that happened at Global Event Forum, Kevin White hosted a little mini session on why the events industry is actually, so the conversation of Global Event Forum was, how do we avoid commoditization? Kevin White held kind of an anti-form inside of it, which was the events industry has already been commoditized. Now, what the heck do we do? And I thought it was so cool because it was so counterintuitive to what you would think. And especially I think it's going to be a great follow-up to the Global Event Forum, which was around that topic. And Kevin White, who we've had on the show for the first annual Shit Event Planners Say episode, which was in 2016. I think, let me see if I can look it up really quick as I try to pull this information, which was episode 26. So if you ever had a chance to talk to Kevin White, he's amazing. He calls you out. And he's an amazing guy. So that's going to be a great episode, really talking about how the fact that we're all being commoditized now, how can you make a difference?
I have been fortunate to spend, some time in rooms with Kevin White, and he is both a lot of fun and one of the smartest people that I know. So that will be a super, super great episode. And then we really lead into, if we're going on our big personalities, our icons in the industry, we have the next week after that is transparency in the event industry with Jacqueline Bernstein out of New York. And she is just she is a fiery, feisty woman. And if we wanted to, have somebody who's, she's been leading that company for more than 20 years and has seen all facets of the destination management industry, which is one that really has been forced to become very transparent. And that's going to be a really exciting episode too.
And that one actually spawned out of an extended episode. So if you guys don't know, we post extended content in the Facebook group that you can join if you subscribe to the podcast, event-icons.com. Little plug right there. But that episode spun out of a mini episode me and Brant did while at IMEX, talking about how the events industry has gotten really poorly transparent, mainly the AV side, and how can you be transparent instead. So we're doing it from the DMC perspective, the AV perspective, the planner perspective, everybody's perspective as far as how do we want transparency in a space that normally is not very transparent.
But it needs to be, because that is our new world.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
And then we kind of cap off our business-oriented episodes with April 3rd. We're talking about Global Meetings Industry Day, which is something that has grown every year. And we're going to be talking, with leaders from, different organizations in the industry, talking about their commitment to Global Meetings Industry Day. We'll probably be talking to some chapter leaders and local organizers about what they're doing in their cities, how they're lobbying, how they're bringing the attention of the meetings industry to their local governments, and how that's impacting policy. So it should be a really, really interesting episode.
Well, and it's early this year. So Global Meetings Industry Day, let me just give my Canada plug, was started in Canada 22 years ago. And it was around the 20th anniversary of it, it became Global Meetings Industry Day. And it really has taken off around the world, and it's fantastic. But it's a little bit earlier this year because Easter is quite late this year. So if it was on its normal day, it would be right before Easter. So it's April 4th this year. And it's also, we're doing Meetings Mean Business a few weeks before this episode, but it's Meetings Mean Business and Global Meetings Industry Day are very closely aligned, as we really look at using this as a day to really unite the business meetings of the world across all of our associations and in literally dozens and dozens of cities. So it's going to be I just love seeing the growth of this day.
And then after that, we get a little bit more casual, a little bit more fun, and we're having an episode on creating podcasts to promote your event. And this is I know meta. It's very meta. It's a podcast talking about podcasts within a podcast. But we're going to be talking to some industry professionals who really know how to do this well. Kiki L'Italian is going to be on for the very first time. Blake Alphin and Doug Sandler will be joining us as well. And they're going to be talking all about how you can use podcasts to promote your events, to share content with your event, get your speakers on there, things like that. So I'm excited about this episode. I'm very curious to hear their experiences in this realm of podcasting.
Well, if I remember, Alex, you loved the episode when I think it was in 2017 or so, we did the episode on podcasts for the events industry. I'm going to look up the episode number as I talk right now. But I feel like that was one of your favorite episodes as well. So I feel like this is going to be really one of your favorites for sure.
I mean, I'm a social media guy, and podcasts are essentially social media. They aren't, but they are. And so it's something I'm excited about.
Episode 36, by the way, was that episode in 2016.
Yeah, so it's this will be episode 160. So it's high time to talk podcasts again.
It's been 130
time
episodes.
flies, hey?
Especially with the growth of podcasts right now, they're kind of blowing up. So I think this will be exciting
for sure. I can talk about the next one, which is episode 161. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been 161 episodes so far. We're talking about how to plan your event without ever visiting the venue. This is kind of the event planner, meeting planner's dream, right? Not to have to do site visits flying across the country and blah, blah, blah. What if in this day and age, you could just never visit the venue? So we're going to be talking tactical tips on how to do that with Sandy Hammer from All Seated, who created a platform that All Seated allows you to basically put on a VR goggles and lay chairs down and see what your venue actually looks like in virtual reality, which is really cool. We'll be talking to a couple other people about how can you make this happen when it seems like we all feel like we need to be inside the space to really get a true sense of it, which is really cool.
I'm still going to go with sometimes I feel like I just need to be there. So it's going to be interesting to see what
We're going to be challenging to hear on that episode, challenging some thought process. So
I think the first episode of May 1st, is one that Tahira is pretty excited about.
The event design canvas. So Root and Roll and Dennis, some of my favorite people in the world, from what they have done to really think about how we design events in a way that's more intentional and a little more thoughtful and really create worthwhile transformative events. But what they did is they just created a way that they can teach other people how to do that. And so they've been teaching it around the world. There are certified event designers in many countries now, from the Philippines through Europe and America, and they're going to be going pretty strong this year in the U.S. and really bringing it over here. So the event design canvas is going to be an interesting episode. The way that the two of them really approach event design is just makes us all think a little bit, and I think that that's always a good thing. So I'm always happy to see them, even if it's virtual.
Even if it's virtual. The next episode is something a little bit different. Throughout the entire show, we've always been trying to not only bring icons of the events industry, but also sometimes bring people outside the industry who might be icons that you might not even know of and think about topics that you might not have ever thought of. And episode 164, where you're talking about using gifts to close more business, where obviously a lot of us are in sales, are trying to get our next client, but talking a lot about gifts and how they also relate to events and the psychology behind them and how they can be used to essentially, close more business, but also create better relationships as well. It's going to be a really, really cool episode. Shout out to Nick Borelli for making the introduction on that episode. We love when our icons share us other guests that we should check out. And I'm excited for a conversation of something that we haven't quite had on the show before, which will be really exciting.
And then we've got an episode on how the Americans with Disabilities Act impacts meetings with Tracy Stuckrath and Tyra Hilliard, who are two other powerhouses when it comes to policy and the impact of events or on events. So I'm excited to hear this. I've heard both of them speak about this topic before, so I'm excited to have them share this information with you. But, it is something important. I think it's something that we don't think about often enough. There's so many people with disabilities that don't go to events because they don't feel like the events are catered to them. So not only how the Disabilities Act impacts meetings, but what we can do to make sure that all people from all walks of life feel welcome at our meetings. So this is an important topic that I'm excited about.
That was awesome. And I think the last episode that we have that we're going to talk about today, the second to last one, we have one more bonus one. We'll tell you guys about that. Will be coming in 2019, but you'll have to wait to find out exactly when it's happening. But the last episode in our list is talking about event safety. We've done one on stage safety already, but we want to start talking about, how can we make our events more safe? When it comes to crises and, making sure first responders and all that stuff that goes into it. And a long time coming, we definitely could do do multiple episodes, and I'm sure we will on event safety, but we're going to take a crack at it from a high level on this first episode, and we'll surely pair very nicely with our stage safety episode as well. I'm very excited for that. So which one of you guys wants to talk about our bonus episode that we're going to have coming sometime in 2019 to give everyone a tease for second half of 2019?
Well, last year we had the opportunity, or sorry, I guess it is last year now. So in 2018, the conference that I was planning was a large technology summit, and we had Brent Bushnell come as our keynote speaker, and he was phenomenal. He, was able to have thousands of people paying attention to a really great message that he had, made more remarkable by the fact that many of them were high school students. And he is an engineer and a clown and has a really great outlook on life. And they've started a company that is called 2-Bit Circus. And 2-Bit Circus has opened their first of what will be several global incarnations of 2-Bit Circus in LA. And I've been there. It's pretty fun. So you can, play Pac-Man or go into a virtual reality battle with your friends, or an escape room or a story room. And they really look at the way that you can entertain human beings, design experiences for them that are both analog and digital, and really connect people. And how that applies to events is across so many different ways. And we are going to be having them on the show sometime this year. It's going to be awesome.
And in addition to that, double bonus. We also have an episode in the works on art and its place in events, which I think kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with what 2-Bit Circus does. But it's going to be talking about, live artists at our events. If you've been to an event where they do they take visual notes up on stage while a keynote is speaking, that kind of stuff. We'll be having some really cool guests on that episode talking about how art can impact your events and how it can positively impact your attendees' experience. So I'm an art major for undergrad, so I'm excited to have artists on the show. But it is exciting. I'm hoping one of them will create art about that episode.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Yes. I think that's we've been talking about that for a while. We got to make sure that happens.
So, but yeah, so that's an episode that is in the works right now. We will let you guys know when we've got that scheduled. But yeah, I think that's it. We've got a lot scheduled for the first half.
6 months every week.
Every week. So there's a few episodes in there that we haven't told you about yet. We're leaving some surprises. But for the most part, that's what we got coming. So, if we have any of you live watching the episode, let us know what episodes you're excited about. Let us know what you want to have a schedule for the second half of the year.
We're always happy to hear about icons.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to use a little bit of time to talk about what we are excited about for next year and kind of cap off this episode, talking not just about the episodes. We obviously now just gave a whole schedule overview, which first on Event Icons that we've done that for you all, but maybe some cool random anecdotes as far as things that we're excited for this next year and things to kind of look forward to. So jump on in.
I'm excited about my new job. I'm actually really excited to be going from, I've been doing planning one conference for the last 3 years, which was fantastic. Super fun to watch that grow and more than triple in size over the 3 years with over 8,000 people last year, I think. So, but to really go back to something that I love, which is incentive events, and really to dig deep into what that means from a motivation, reward, retention, recognition perspective, and how we're really using events to create meaning for people in their daily lives, and something to strive for when they're at their organizations, and then to really be working with professionals around the world who are doing that is something that I'm super excited about for this year.
As you should be.
Mm-hmm.
While my internet's working, I wanted to share something I'm really excited about for EventIcons this year. We're going to be doing more in-person live events than ever before. sneak peek, but the production value of these is going to go through the roof as well. And it's going to start with our episode in Go West, and it's going to continue all the way through the staples that we've had last year and more as well. So if you're a conference organizer or you go to a conference and you want to see us there, let us know that where you want to see us. And I promise we are going to bring you an amazing show live from there. I'm just going to tease you, but this year we're stepping up the production game, and it will be the highest quality live stream podcast show you could ever imagine at a conference. And it's going to be so exciting. So stay tuned for that, everybody.
We're just going to have drones everywhere, you guys.
Production plus styling. It's going to be amazing.
But, yeah, no, I think I'm excited about the idea that we're going to have a lot more practitioners on the show. I think we're looking at getting a lot of, these event icons that we never even thought that we'd be able to get on the show, onto the show. I think we're 3 years in now, Will? So, yeah, we're 3 years in. And
3 years.
And so I
going on
think,
4.
I think we're challenging ourselves to step it up. Really, get some people in here that we never thought would be possible. And, we're looking outside of the events industry too, to bring you some new perspectives. And so, yeah, I think that's what I'm really excited about.
It's going to be awesome. And guess what? We get to have a short show today now that we've teased people, right? So we can release Will from his Wi-Fi badness, and we can just say we are super excited about next year on so many levels. And Alex is going to take us out and tell us where you can hear us every week.
Yeah, so as you know, we record live each Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can watch behind the scenes on Facebook Live. We release the episode the following Tuesday on iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. And you can always watch us on event-icons.com, where the episodes are posted along with show notes and links to resources shared. The best way to join us live is to sign up at event-icons.com and join the chat live there. As always, we want to know what you think. Hashtag us on Twitter using hashtag EventIcons, or join the Event Icons Facebook group or the new LinkedIn group. Let us know what icons you want to be on the show. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week on Event Icons.
Boom, 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 boom. Event Icons out.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of #EventIcons. To catch the transcription and all of the resources mentioned, head to www.helloendless.com/blog. This week's episode will be posted and available by next Tuesday. Also, let us know what you thought about this week's episode. Share your biggest takeaway
And join the social conversation. Sponsored by Little Bird Told Media.
Just tag your post with #EventIcons. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on #EventIcons.